In a world where Comm students are allowed to choose the subject of their projects, 4 intelligent students choose to talk about movies. But for reals, this is our project about movie trends and how they affect our society. One of the most popular movie genres right now is superhero movies. Before the 2000s, superhero movies were mostly irrelevant. They were a childish gimmick the general audience didn't care about. True, movies like Tim Burton's Batman, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and Christopher Reeve's Superman were made, but none of their franchises really stuck or took off. No one took them very seriously. No one thought that they would become high-budget, worthwhile movies. Nothing was sticking until X-Men by Bryan Singer came out in 2000, and then the genre of superhero movies exploded. Since then, we have seen many franchises: the Dark Knight trilogy, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the Spider-Man trilogy, and we have not yet seen a decline in its popularity, but it could very well be happening in the future. Comedy is a genre beloved by tons of people. Over the years, we've seen different comedies try to push the limit, using shock value and offensive humor to get the laughs. Through time, we've had plenty of raunchy comedies, but it seems around the 2000s and up, we've gotten more movies that are smutty and the men and women wear abbreviated clothing constantly, but we've still had plenty of fantastic comedies as well. Horror movies adapt to what scares society. For instance, during the Cold War, horror movies dealt with consequences of nuclear technology. For example, Godzilla, They Attack, and other giant monster movies. When slasher flicks started around the late 70s, starting with John Carpenter's Halloween, they added more of a disturbing feel to horror movies that made them more realistic, because we were actually seeing people kill people, not monsters kill people. They also started the cliche of having the story revolve around sexually promiscuous teenagers, which was considered revolutionary and artistic, but since then has become a stereotype. Same goes for the overload of gore and profanity. Now we see audiences demanding higher quality horror movies, yet Hollywood still produces mediocre work, though there have been a few great horror movies made in the last 10 years. Ethics in films over the last 60 years have been getting more blatant. It's far more common for some nudity and vulgarity to be thrown in the movies casually, even when it doesn't move the story along. Superhero movies, something that was completely irrelevant, is now popular. Even still, we can see them getting more sensual and adding more language to the genre. Deadpool, for example, is the newest superhero movie which brings gore, sex, and profanity into the cinema. Comedy has always been one of the sketchiest movie genres where ethics are considered, but we have still seen them go downhill over the years. We are not saying that it is all bad, but there are far more trashy comedies than there are laughable comedies. Horror movies nowadays are far cries from the humble beginnings of movies like Frankenstein or The Creature from the Black Lagoon. Contemporary movies like Saw or Hellraiser focus less on the story and more on the shock value. They also glorify the antagonists more than the protagonists. Perhaps these movies change because of society, but vice versa, society also changes its point of view to the media it consumes. We are interested to see where movies go in the future and if their ethics will go with them.